Welcome to a small reflection for learning activity that is designed to help you explore different ways of being present and different ways of being aware and reflecting. It's an exercise called melting, and it involves letting the boundaries between your sense of yourself and your environment soften around you. So just take some time to sit quietly and relax. Put your feet on the ground, close your eyes if that's comfortable, or look in a relaxed and gentle way or however suitable for you. And in ways that feel comfortable and pleasurable, so only in ways that actually feel nurturing and gladdening, or at least peaceful and happy. Relax into being aware of the environment around you and imagine yourself melting into everything around you. So melting into the space, melting into the room, melting into your social world, wherever you find yourself placed. Let yourself just melt into the environment, letting the boundaries soften and ease. Take your time to let your sense of presence shift. Be quietly with where you are and let the boundary between you and your world soften so you melt into it. Play with it. It's kind of a thing to be playful about, not too serious. And take your time to just notice what happens and to savor it. Feel the taste of being here and notice how the taste of being here changes. Notice how space changes. Notice how being you changes. Let the sense of separation fall away, melting into your environment. You can take a long time doing this if you want to and if time permits. When you feel ready, so no rush, just gently return to being alert and awake and present in the room, returning to a more usual differentiated sense of yourself and your environment. So noticing your physicality and your own point of view, the people around you. And as you come back, be aware of the shifts that have just happened. So you've gone into some kind of melting into your environment, or some kind of shifting your relationship to your environment, and you've moved back out again. Be aware of that, the contrasts in your experience, and let them inform your sense of the possibilities of different ways of being aware and being present. So when you each feel ready, I'll invite you to reflect on what your experiences were in this small, light little exercise.
I actually find it quite difficult to let go of where I was. And I kept hearing the baby bird, and so that kept on intruding into my space.
Mm-hmm.
I was shifting in and out of being out there with that little bird, and back to where I'm sitting on this chair.
So it was kind of an experience of presence in your room, and then outside, and then back, and then with a fairly strong sense of differentiation kind of foregrounded in a way, kind of, which is fine. I mean, it's kind of like, if you think of the exercise not so much as instructions about what you ought to do, but rather an invitation to see what happens, then that's kind of pretty cool, because you're noticing that there's some real connections there that actually want to keep you in the space.
Yeah, very much so. And there's
Yeah.
a sense of tensions too. That
Yes. Yeah.
your attention.
Yes. 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 Yeah. Thank you.
I put mute on during the session because there was a low-flying plane. But what I liked about the melting was instead of getting annoyed that there was a plane, I tried to melt into the plane and feel the vibrations and movement of it. And it just had a really sort of positive feeling.
So it was kind of sensuous or just exciting, or say a little bit more about positive.
Feeling
perhaps? Alive.
That I can be part of anything I meld into.
Cool. And you don't, just for neither of you two and for everybody, you don't need to respond. It's a perfectly fine exercise to just be quietly present with yourself and receive what's happened. But if either of you, Annalise or Kate, would like to say something, that's also very welcome.
I was going to say that I was still processing the little time away, but I think what I wanted to share is that I felt sort of cocooned. I almost imagined like I was being bent and folded away into a little cocoon, into a little nook for that period of time. And as much as I could still hear surrounds, white noise around me, I almost shut those out. So not dissimilar from Marina's experience in terms of focusing, I guess, on something that seemed a little bit more welcome rather than something that seemed intrusive.
Yeah, so cocoon means comfortable, I guess, and enclosed and safe and all those sorts of things. Is that right? Something, okay, don't let me force my words on you, but something in that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found that my arms are resting on my desk, and so I was feeling my arms melt into the desk, and I must admit I didn't particularly like it. So I then tried to recompose myself and melt elsewhere, and found it really difficult to get outside the office.
Yes, yeah.
I want to melt into my office. So I've really found myself resisting. And I imagine that if I had done this exercise outside, I would have been able to engage more.
Well, again, if you look at it as a kind of an exploration of boundaries and separation, you can say, oh, this is a place I really want to hold separate from. Office is a place where I need to be kind of present in that more alert and ordinary kind of way. And whereas outside might be a place where it would be just delicious to kind of relax, I mean, it makes me sitting in the bush or watching the ocean or something. So, I mean, if it's a kind of interesting exploration, really, of ways in which we are able to shift and how relationships to places change what's possible and what's not possible, or what feels comfortable and good. And so just for anybody thinking of using this exercise themselves, it's also worth saying that sometimes people drop into a kind of an altered state of consciousness in an exercise like this. And so it is important to really help people, support people return back to being present in the room in an ordinary way. And overall, the kind of purpose of the whole thing is to help you play with and help the way in which we can shift our modes of awareness, we can shift our modes of being present, and in that we kind of deepen the repertoire of opportunities for reflective practice. And as we've had occasion to say for a couple of times here, it's really important to remember this is an exploratory exercise. It's not something where there's something to be achieved. It's really about noticing what happens and seeing what that reveals about how you are experiencing being present. So if you'd like to find out more about this exercise, have a look at our a guide published by Advanced HE on reflection for learning, a scholarly practice guide for educators. And if you'd like to send us some feedback and experience on using this exercise, or if you've got any questions, email us at reflection4lc@gmail.com, as you can see on the slide. Thank you for joining us.